Hello, beautiful, abundant empath community. So today we are talking about being energetically or financially broke. What does that mean exactly? That means that we're not in a place of abundance when it comes to the level of emotions, the level of physical energy, just the level of life force moving through us because we are depleted, right? Or what I also see with a lot of women clients, in particular empaths, is that they're not financially abundant, or maybe there are other areas of life where you are not abundant, where you are quote unquote broke or in a place of lack. So today we are talking about number one, why that happens, and number two, how to fix it. I would love to hear from you. Where are you on that spectrum? Where is it in your life that you would like to create more abundance? Because bringing that into mind today, right? This is not about me or just sharing my story, which I'm going to do some of that today, or just sitting here watching a video. This is about making this real and practical for you. So let's set our intention right now. Where is it in your life that you are feeling depleted, you are feeling broke, you would like to create more abundance? Because what we're talking about today, I'm going to be sharing more along the lines of energetically feeling depleted or financially feeling depleted, because oftentimes when I'm working with empaths specifically, that is what I see. It's one of those two extremes. It's a woman who's been incredibly successful. She's, got the family or the job or the relationship or whatever it is, but she's giving, and she's feeling broke energetically and emotionally. Or there are also women who are wanting to manifest more money and abundance in their lives, and they're not where they want to be financially. So if you are in one of those two places, you are somewhere in the middle, you are feeling both, you are in the right place, because today we are going to solve this problem. And I want to start out by sharing that here's the great news. If you are feeling, quote, broke or not abundant in any area of your life, brothers, sisters, people, empaths, my dear friends, the power is in your hands, because here's the secret. The value, the abundance, the energy that we are able to welcome into our lives is directly correlated to how much you value yourself. Let me say that again, right? The abundance, the energy that you bring in, the value you're able to bring in is directly correlated to how much you value yourself. So if you are feeling broke, depleted, like you don't have enough in any area of your life, the first place to start is by looking at you and the level by which you value yourself. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little story, and then I'm going to go into exactly a few places to look, because we hear a lot of talk. I did a post on this yesterday on my Instagram and my Facebook. We hear a lot of talk, right, about value yourself, love yourself, respect yourself. Well, what does that actually mean in practical terms? So I'm going to give you kind of some secrets, some places to look at yourself and your life and say, oh wow, like maybe this is where I was missing something, or maybe this is where I could value myself more, and in turn create more energy for myself, create more emotional stability for myself, create better boundaries, create more financial abundance for myself. Maybe it's valuing yourself in relationships. Maybe you want to attract a partner, right? If we're not valuing ourselves, we're not going to be able to attract a relationship of value in our lives. If we're not valuing ourselves, we're not going to ever feel valued in the workplace. We're not going to be able to set boundaries for ourselves. I mean, that's where I'm going to kind of set the stage today, because that was a story that I really lived that story, right? I was like, and maybe you can relate to this. I was this, corporate, like hardworking woman, working in corporate communications. And I remember the moment exactly, right? I was completely financially, I was in an okay place, but like I was completely energetically depleted. I remember I had worked for like 10 days straight, no days off. I'm not joking, like 15 plus hour days. And I was so depleted. I had no more to give. And what I realized was that I wasn't valuing myself. I was not setting boundaries. I was looking around and everybody else. And if you've been in a corporate situation, or maybe, as a parent or in your community or whatever it is, you look around and you're like, well, everyone else is doing it. Just because everyone else is doing it, working, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, or just because everyone else is doing things a certain way as a parent, or everyone is doing things a certain way as a human, doesn't mean that you have to do it, because your values are your own. And what I recognize is that I was living by what other people were doing. I was living by what I thought the standard was. I wasn't valuing myself. I wasn't valuing my worth. I wasn't valuing my time. I wasn't valuing my health. I wasn't valuing my spiritual development, my coaching, any of the things that really light me up inside. And that was a pivotal moment. That was the moment that I realized the reason I didn't have what I wanted in my life was because I didn't value myself enough to make it happen. Okay, so this starts here, right? Today, whatever it is that you want to change in your life, wherever it is that you want more abundance, think about, as I'm going through these places to start looking at, to value yourself, how can this apply to me? How can I apply this? How can I start to make changes in my life in order to value myself more and create more abundance in my life? Okay, the first thing, I kind of alluded to this. The first place to look when it comes to valuing ourselves is deciding what's important to you, deciding what your values really are. And sometimes we think about values, right? We hear that word and we're like, okay, I value my family, or I value time off, or I value my health. What is really important for you to feel? What is really important for you to be as a human, right? I looked at myself in that moment where I was, working and giving, and I felt like everything was completely out of balance. I recognized I wasn't living by my values of soul and love and, growth and all these things. I was dedicating and giving all of my energy to one thing. And I was, doing it for the money, right? I wasn't doing it for any other reason. And it was sucking my soul dry. And so we've got to decide what is most important to us. And we've got to make decisions based on that. And that can show up in a lot of different ways, right? If we are, let's say we have a business and we're attempting to create abundance in that business. If we're completely out of alignment and not standing by our values and just doing things for the money, we're not going to be able to create abundance, because we're not actually valuing our true selves. We're not doing that from a soul aligned place. We're doing it from a place of ego, which isn't going to cultivate the right type of abundance. You're always going to feel depleted, whether it's energetically or financially, right? Or in our jobs or our relationships. If we're not really standing by our true values and who we are, we're always going to be depleting ourselves energetically, giving, but then never really feeling full. So it's really important to decide, if you want to create more abundance in your life, if you want to be unbroke, if you want to be financially, emotionally, energetically abundant, what is it that you stand for? And then value yourself enough to stand and live by those values. What's most important in your life? Even more importantly, what's most important for you to feel, and who is most important for you to be? Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up in this world? Live your life by that. The second thing, when it comes to valuing ourselves, and therefore when we value ourselves, we create more value for ourselves energetically, financially, and every other way in our lives. The second thing, and I hear this especially when it comes to giving in the workplace or in our families, we're the givers, the empaths, right? We're the givers. And it's really important. And one way we know that we truly value ourselves is that we celebrate ourselves. We celebrate ourselves, right? I remember this, and this was where I was, right? I was in the workplace giving all of this, and I never felt full. There was not anything externally that could fill me up because I was relying, instead of celebrating myself, I was relying on other people to validate me, other people to give something to me, whether it was a compliment or acknowledgement or, a salary bump or a bonus or whatever it is. And those things are great, and we will cultivate and attract those things when we value ourselves. But if we're waiting for other people to validate us, to see our value before we celebrate and value ourselves, we'll always feel depleted. We will never be enough. We will never be able to cultivate that abundance in our lives. We're relying on that to come from the outside. We've got to generate. I always say when we talk about manifesting, right? You want to feel the emotions before it happens. Whatever it is that you want to manifest, however you envision yourself feeling, we've got to feel that energy now, and that's how we attract that into our lives. So learn to celebrate you. This is a big way that we can learn to value ourselves, and not just your accomplishments, right? I used to be the type of person that's like, I would never celebrate because there's always another goal. Well, then I learned that, hey, it's great to celebrate my accomplishments. So, you do whatever you want to do to celebrate yourself. You go out for a nice dinner, get yourself a pedicure, or go on a vacation, or whatever it is to celebrate you. But we've also got to learn to celebrate our growth. It's not always about the achievements, the accomplishments, the to-do list, the productivity, right? How are you growing? Celebrating. And I started in this position that I was talking about earlier, not only celebrating what I got done for the day or the achievements, or if I got some sort of recognition or award or whatever it is, I had to learn to celebrate my growth. When I had moments where it was something that would emotionally have triggered me in the past, I learned to celebrate, okay, I handled that differently today, or I learned this today, or I gained this perspective today. So celebrating yourself is about so much more than just when things are going right and when you're like feeling like a superhuman, superwoman. Celebrating yourself is also those moments where it's a growth opportunity, even those moments where you fail, quote fail, even though I don't believe in that, but you learn something, right? We've got to, instead of relying on acknowledgement and achievements and accomplishments and the money coming in or whatever kind of validation or affirmation we're looking for, how can you start today to celebrate yourself? And that is one way to get unbroke and to start to cultivate abundance and to really start to own and see our value. Okay, number three way to start valuing yourself is to know intuitively what it means to do your best, and to know that that's always enough. That's all we can do, right? At the end of the day, if you can look yourself in the mirror and you can say, you know what? I gave my all today. I did my best today. I am happy with that. I am proud of myself. Once again, celebrating yourself. But here's the thing, right? When we look out in life, there will always be more to do. There will always be more money that we can make. When we measure our success, when we measure our achievement externally, when we're waiting to get to the end of the to-do list, we're waiting to get that compliment from the boss, we're waiting to get that thank you from our children or our husband, we're waiting to get a certain number of dollars in the bank, we will always feel like we are not enough, because no matter if you get to the goal, if you get one of those things, there will always be more and more and more to do, always be more and more and more to get. We will always feel unfull, and we will always feel not empty, and we will always feel depleted, right? But the good news is when you start to set your own standard and you start to truly value just who you are and showing up as your best, and knowing like what that means for you, because that's a fine line and it's different for all of us, right? So this is where knowing ourselves can become really important, because some of us set the bar really high and it will never be enough. And some of us really don't push ourselves far enough. So what does it mean for you, that middle ground, that middle path of doing your best and being celebratory and happy and grateful for what it is and how you're showing up, and knowing that doing your best is the best, is all that we can do, right? And that's how we value ourselves, is by knowing ourselves well enough to know what our best is, and giving that, showing up as that day in and day out. Okay, finally, the final way to truly value yourself is by giving and receiving freely, letting go of things when we need to, but also being willing to receive. So there's a balance. When we talk about energy, right? And we're talking about energetics in terms of our spirit, our soul, our physical energy level, as well as money today. But everything is energy. So no matter what it is that you want to manifest or attract, or whatever area that you're feeling like you have lack or don't have enough, there is a way that energy needs to be brought back into balance. And so oftentimes what we do when we live in a place of lack because we feel like we don't have enough in a certain area, right? A couple things that we do. We hold on, we hoard, right? We don't want to give, or we hold on to the things that aren't right for us too long instead of letting them go. So when you value yourself, you release things, you give things, you let go of things very freely, because you know that the energy will come back to you. You know that you are a creator. You know that you are capable of bringing whatever it is that you need back into your life, right? So when we truly value ourselves, we don't hold on to things for longer than we need to, whether it's a relationship, a job, something that you're doing in your daily life that's not working. We release that freely and we move on. Now, here's something that's really, really important. I talk to so many clients about this. Nothing goes away until it teaches you what you need to learn, right? And so we don't want to just, when we're talking about releasing things, and we've been talking a lot today about jobs and relationships and things like that, right? We want to ensure that we've absorbed the lesson of what that, if something was a challenge, right? If you're not feeling valued, if you're not creating value in a certain job, whatever it is, we want to make sure that whatever the bigger lesson, our soul lesson was, that we've gotten clear on, okay, why did I manifest this situation? So that we can let go, knowing that we've always received something from every situation that's come into our lives, whether a relationship, job, or whatever else it is, whatever it is that you need to change, right? But then we want to be able to release things freely. We don't want to hang on to things. We want to release and let go, knowing that more is coming into our life. The same thing comes when it comes to abundance and money. If we hoard our money, right? If we just kind of completely hold on to every penny that we have instead of investing in ourselves, investing in things that are important to us, investing in our growth, expanding our mind, whatever it is that is of value to you, we will be holding on to that energy, and we won't be allowing that flow to be created in our lives energetically, right? If we're not willing to give of our time because we never have enough time, we're not allowing that flow of energy to go. I've learned that lesson over and over again. Earlier this year was really working on this. I would always say to myself, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. And it was like I was hoarding my time, and I felt like I never had enough time because I wasn't making time for what was important. I had to get that flow. I had to start to release that grip that I have in this perception of I don't have enough time. I had to make time for the things that were most important, and then the energy could flow in. I could bring in abundance in terms of time, right? Same thing with money. Invest. If you want to make more money, invest in yourself, invest in your growth, invest in what's important to you. On the flip side, we talked about giving and receiving. We also, when we value ourselves, we also need to learn to receive. The biggest way that I see this show up with empaths is with the healers and the soul-based businesses, and those of us who are giving, and maybe we have a a challenge receipt. We always want to be the giver, right? Like, well, I'm always the one that's giving. Well, I shouldn't be charging for this, or I'm charging too much, or whatever it is, right? Well, it is, in a sense, that's our ego wanting control. That's our ego saying like, well, I've always got to be the one that's the giver. So if you are resistant to receiving, one way to start to create more abundance is to get comfortable with receiving, to get comfortable with allowing yourself to accept whatever it is, compliments, money, opportunities, right? Get uncomfortable. A lot of the time, exactly what we need to do is what scares us the most. So when it comes to creating abundance, most of the time valuing ourselves, most of the time creating more abundance, most of the time getting unstuck means doing the things that make us uncomfortable, getting out of our comfort zone and saying, all right, what I've been doing hasn't been working. Let me go a little bit more in the other direction so that I can stop creating the definition of insanity, which is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And I can actually start to create some change in my life. So think about that when it comes to valuing yourself. What is it that you most want to focus on right now? And I did a post on this yesterday, as I said. There were actually a few more examples that I gave, but what we're talking about today, I want you to just think about these 4 things. Is it really honoring and understanding your values and standing by those things, setting boundaries according to those things? Is it celebrating yourself? Is it doing your best and knowing that that's enough and not having this perfectionistic view, right? Celebrating your growth, not just your achievements and your accomplishments. Or is it learning to give and receive more freely instead of clinging and controlling and holding on, allowing energy to flow more freely in your life? So those are 4 specific ways that you can start to value yourself and 4 specific ways that you can also begin to create more abundance in your life and become broke no more when it comes to your energy level, when it comes to your finances or any other aspect of your life. Now, I do want to share with you guys something really, really exciting. There are going to be some big changes coming in the future for the Abundant Empath community. But for right now, I want to offer you an exclusive offer for the month of August and September. I have a special coaching offering that I'm going to be making available to empaths. I am telling you, empaths, if you want to get out of this place of empath lack, you want to get out of this place of I don't have enough for myself energetically, I'm on the emotional roller coaster, I'm always the giver, I'm never the receiver, or I don't have enough abundance in my life, or I want to connect more with purpose. Whatever area that you're experiencing lack, we can create unlimited abundance for you. So this is about taking you to a space where you're comfortable setting boundaries in your life, in your job, right? Where you are confident in who you are, you know your value, you know your worth, and that's going to show up in every area of your life, your relationships, your job, the way you're manifesting abundance in your business, all of those sorts of things. Maybe you want more emotional freedom. Maybe you just want to feel more confident being you, whatever it is, whatever area of life that you want to cultivate more abundance. That is what we are going to be transforming over the course of 8 weeks, working together, hand in hand, step by step. I'll be guiding you. And this is, like I said, exclusive, limited time. If you are interested, send me a DM and we'll set up some time to chat about it, to create your vision and get you on your path. You can also go into my website where you can set up a one-on-one time to chat with me. It's going to be kesleytweed.com/chat. And that is where we can set up that time to like really get you started on your path. So if you are ready, if you are interested, you want to take it to the next level, you want to create unlimited abundance for you in your life, in every single area of your life, let's get it going. All right. Thank you so much for watching today. It has been amazing to be with you, and I will see you again very soon. Thanks for watching.